Well, I think in a context where our economy hasn't grown for 3 consecutive quarters, it is extraordinary that this government thinks the thing it should be doing is to make it easier to fire people as opposed to hire people. And that is why watering down people's rights at work is really a distraction. They should be doing things, for example, like introducing a national insurance break to encourage micro businesses taking on extra workers, given the economic climate.
But isn't it right that businesses should isn't it right that businesses, if they've got underperforming workers, that they should have an easier way of dealing with them rather than a lengthy, expensive tribunal?
Well, Vince Cable himself has already conceded that we have one of the most liberal labour markets in the Western world, and that the balance between the employer and employee is about right. So in that context, seeking to water down every single employee in this country's rights at work is really adds insult to injury when people are already worried because of the economic climate about whether or not they will keep their rights at work. The fact is, underperforming employees can already be dismissed under the unfair dismissal regime in this country, provided you go through a fair and proper process and you treat them in a fair and decent manner.
Business groups have come out today and they're quite pleased with these proposals, so it's got the support of employers.
But if you actually ask businesses, and according to the Business Department's own survey of small businesses this year, what is holding you back from taking on workers, only 7% of employers cite regulation such as employment law as the main impediment. 4 times that sum say actually it's the economic climate and the lack of demand which is preventing them from taking on extra workers at the moment. So their priority is for the government to actually focus on getting the economy growing again and lifting it out of the recession which the government's failed economic policies have brought about.
The government, or Vince Cable, has said that he's not going ahead with the no-fault dismissal proposals from the Beecroft report. So it has been watered down, what they're going for.
The Business Secretary should never ever have consulted on proposals to fire people at will in the first place. He himself, when he announced the consultation, said that there was no evidence to support it whatsoever. But of course, we know that he was forced into doing this consultation because he lacks clout across Whitehall and was forced to do so by the Treasury. The fact is, actually today, he himself has said that they are implementing around 80% of the proposals in this Beecroft report, and what we do know is there's no evidence whatsoever to support any claims that this will promote growth. And in fact, Adrian Beecroft himself was forced to concede when giving evidence to the House of Commons committee looking at this issue that he had no concrete evidence to support any claim that his proposals would get growth going again.
So why do you think they're going ahead with this?
The reason that the government is going ahead with this is because it is desperate, and unfortunately there are too many, particularly on the Conservative part of the coalition, who are wedded to a kind of retro economic policy that says actually doing away with regulation, cutting people's rights at work, and going back to the formula very much promoted by Margaret Thatcher in the 1980s is the way to promote growth in the future, in the noughties and beyond. That is a flawed prospectus, and it will not get us where we need to be as a country which is growing again.